What is up, guys? Just finished day 2 of Decipher, the second full day of the conference. This is the Algorand conference in Dubai. As you know, my channel's been here, sponsored by nifgen.com, and I got to give those guys a big shout out. I wouldn't be here. A lot of other Algorand creators would not be here if it weren't for nifgen, and so that's a big deal, and I wanted to do my best job to really cover this thing hard, just to pay them back, and make sure I put out good content and make sure their name's on that content. So I'm going to go through the day's highlights of what you can expect from me, kind of what we saw today, but also what you expect from me going forward, because I recorded a number of videos. I'm going to talk a little bit about those videos. I recorded some news broken today. The whole conference, I don't think there was anything earth-shattering that broke as far as news. But that's okay, because just the fact that where we are now today compared to a year ago is a big deal. So I'm going to wrap that up in my final thoughts. And I'm going to run down through not only the people that I interviewed today, but also some of the people I talked to that I'm excited to interview in the future, which includes some of the people I interviewed today, but also people I met. I had some surprise ones today. One in particular really blew me away that I didn't even know about, and I'm really excited. Guy's a super cool guy. So I'm going to tell you all about that today. And then I'm just going to give you my final thoughts on the conference, where Algorand is at, some thoughts about the foundation, some realizations, and just kind of wrap things up. So that's where we're going to go in today's Frugal VC. Well, before I run down the keynotes, I just want to say, it's really been an exhausting, but a good exhausting 2 days. Good for good and bad reasons. A lot of us really struggle with sleep. Something about the time difference. I've actually done worse time differences, but this one seemed to hit the worst. I'm not really sure why that is. Also exhausting in a good way, because I met so many cool people and I talked to so many people. I did so much talking when normally a lot of my work is behind the scenes and quiet. And so I'm not used to that. And I'm an introvert. I need time to recover. So usually by the time we got to the parties, I stayed for one kind of after party, but most of them I actually ditched, because by the time I got there, I was so zonked from the conference and I need to come back and make those videos for you guys so you guys know what happened. And I know the live streams are out there, so you can watch all the panels if you want. But really, like I kind of said this at the beginning, and it turned out to be 100% true, if not more so than I even thought. The most interesting things happened outside of the panel. I think the programming is there just for people to feel like they can see something on a schedule that's tangible, because the stuff that happens usually is intangible. And it's so many cool people and made these connections that, whether it's putting faces to names, real people to people I've interacted with online, and also just meeting new people in this space who are in. I was really struck with all the people and how passionate they are about their projects, how much they're into this. I talk a lot about scams and about weeding those out. The philosophy of the channel, how I never do videos on projects until there's an actual project to try. I did a little exception for Cosmic Champs, but for the most part, I generally don't do that. And the reason I don't do that is because I don't want to accidentally promote another Algorand. And I think about that a lot. I think about doxing. When you meet people in person, and yeah, some people could fool you, but I like to think I have a pretty good people radar, and when people are really passionate about something, you can tell that they really care about. If it's a game, they really care about that game. It's a little harder to tell in some of the DeFi stuff or the banking, because it's they could have really great intentions, or it could be like a money making scheme, and so that can be hard to differentiate. But at least with the games, you can tell when these people really care about a game, and so I felt like that with everybody I interviewed today. I started with the keynote. Today we had Sean Ford, who's the interim CEO of Algorand Inc. Now, we had some back and forth on the Twitter space. Mostly he said something and I responded. I think he kind of agreed with it. He talked about how, and I know I've said this before, so I apologize if this is repetitive, but he said that, he really made clear that the foundation kind of has, or not the foundation, but Algorand Inc. has the view that the tech should sell itself. And I agree with that to an extent. I do think having a really good product is one of your best sales tools. However, crypto space is very crowded, and I do think you need a little bit of hype. You need a little bit of marketing. So we might disagree on that a little bit. Let's see what we got. So I'm going to go through some of his tweets here. I know this format is a little bit different than usual. I thought he had really good things to say. He talked about he's a very good speaker. He talked about the erosion of tribalism and how people should really like question these projects. And I really appreciate that because that's all I do here, man. This is what I do. I don't take anything for granted. No, I love Algorand, but also I think it's important to be critical because it's the stone that sharpens the sword. Like you're gonna have a better product. Yeah, like I play tested some games today, and the developers were like, "Give me all the notes on that, man. Like, don't tell me everything that you found that you'd like to see improve." And we're gonna take that feedback and make the game better. Their game's gonna be better because they got that criticism. And I think you can do it politely, but anyway, big fan of Ford on that one. I came away really liking Ford a lot, and so his plan for building trust in Algo, not that Algo really needs more trust, I think, compared to a lot of blockchains, but I think he sees that as like now it's time to take a leadership position. I agree with that. It's reliability, be human, be inclusive, and be brave. That's what I try to do on this channel too. So I can appreciate that sentiment. Yes, we talked a lot about pragmatism, cutting out that cult-like behavior, which is kind of interesting because some of the stuff I felt like from Stacey's keynote, and I thought it was overall pretty good, to be honest, but some of the stuff felt a little cult-like, and there were some comments she made, like she said, "Oh, if you don't know this particular person, then you don't belong in this room." It's like, do we just talk about inclusivity? I just said that. That's a really uninclusive. In fact, it kind of seemed almost a little you're either kind of Bush era, you're either for us or against us. I'll say that I know there's some Stacey haters out there. I don't think I'm one of them. There's some things she does that I don't agree with. I think she can be a little harsh. Doesn't always choose her words super carefully, or maybe she is, and she makes different choices than I would, I guess. Especially when you're a room full of Algorand people, you shouldn't be saying anything about how anyone doesn't belong. I mean, it's just that's not a Me Too thing or a cancel culture thing. It's just more of like why would you be turning away anyone who wants to be here? This is where we want to be, right? Yeah. So what Sean Ford is saying is like now this bear market is washing out these people like Sam Bankman-Fried, these bad actors, Celsius, Voyager. I mean, put them all on the screen. Said it's not their time now. Their time is over, and now it's time. It's our time. I agree with that because I think the Algo fam community, we're about like real projects and just having real world solutions. And yeah, we bicker about the price sometimes. I think we got to worry about that a lot less, in my opinion. Yeah, just talking about going from speculations to substance, so which is kind of what he was talking about before. Yeah, he said we're not perfect. Fair, I said fair enough. I thought that was right. It just had a lot more. I felt a lot more humility. Humility. There's a lot more humility in Ford's speech than we saw with Warden's speech yesterday. I thought he did a really good job. So kudos to him, and I appreciate that. I looked over at his expression when I said what I said about how I think does need to be a little marketing, and that the best tech doesn't always win. And I saw him nodding his head in agreement. So I appreciate it. It seemed like he was like taking that feedback at least. That's a good sign. That's a really good sign. Let's see, we're going to get to some of the news that broke later on, but I want to talk a little bit about some of the projects that I interviewed today, and you're going to see these interviews. So tomorrow I'm still in Dubai. I leave 2 a.m. Friday, which is like still Thursday in the US if you're watching in the US. And so I'm gonna have some time I got some newsletter stuff to do, but then I'm gonna try to get out one or two of these videos and get them scheduled so you'll have them to watch. And I'm gonna slowly release them. I interviewed a bunch of people yesterday and then today, a lot of game projects and some other stuff. So we talk about, I interviewed Edge Tactics. This is a Hearthstone like game. They had an alpha playable, so it was, not the full game. I mean, it was basically a full game, but it's pretty rough. There's some rough stuff around the edges, but really fun game. It looks cool. It's fun to play, and so you definitely want to check that out. That was another one I kind of slept on. And how I am though. I'm not gonna do a video. I keep tabs on them. I keep kind of watching them. Now that I got to talk to them, they're great people. They're really, one of their developers is a former pro gamer, pro Hearthstone player, and he coaches pro Hearthstone players now. So pretty cool. Of course, I interviewed Cosmic Champs. Now a lot of their team was out. Hashish was the guy who came on the show, or came on camera with me. That went pretty well, by the way. I was a little worried about how that equipment would work. I did get a good chance to check it out. it doesn't, the shotgun mic worked pretty well. It didn't work perfectly. Like getting actual lapel mics would have been better, but also more complicated. And when you go into stuff like this, you got to be mindful of that because if you set something up in your room, you have like a quiet condition. When you're in the middle of a conference or something like that, you don't always have perfect conditions. So simplicity can sometimes overtake quality in that. Now, this one next guy I want to talk about was really cool. I did not expect. This is one of those things that is an intangible at the conference. You can't predict this. I talked to this guy named Mud. That's his name, Mud, and he's a young fellow, a very talented web developer, and he's making a game called So Move. And this is an AR dancing game. It tracks your movements via your joints, and you can play it on your browser, you can play it on your phone, iOS and Android, plus your web browser. And you don't need any equipment. You just do. I'm like, that blows me away. It blew me away because not only does it sound cool, but I had no idea. I had never heard of that. Way cool. Really nice guy. Hope to have him on the actual show sometime. And then I met the Algorand Gaming Guild. Bro, guide him, I think. Algorand Gaming Guild folks. I don't know if you're following them. They have a Medium post where they post once a week, like an update of all their gaming news. I really like these guys a lot. Now they're originally from South Africa, so they got a kind of cool accent that's kind of hard to identify. And then they've been living in Jersey City, so I really enjoyed meeting those folks. And they're really passionate about games. They're fun people. Like they seem like people I would enjoy like playing a board game with or playing video games with or something. I really like them. I liked a lot of the people I met. And then Vibe. Now this is an interesting one. So Blake from Vibe, he came on, he went on camera. I ran into him a couple times and talked to him. Now Vibe is a thing where you connect your social media to your crypto wallet, and then when you post and you get likes and stuff, you can actually turn that into coins, which you can then turn around and flip and sell. So we had fun talking. He's actually a firefighter right now, which is kind of cool. Nice guy, really nice guy. I hope the platform works out for him. I kind of worry about stuff like that when your main incentive is to dump the coin and change it. So that could be that could be trouble, but it could be a short-term way to make some money, or maybe it'll turn out. I don't know. And then the other one is Trantorian. I talked to the Trantorian folks. I got to say, I really enjoyed meeting them. They're very passionate about their projects. They're from Argentina. Can't remember where they said they're living now. A couple different places, it sounds like. That's the thing about a lot of these teams. Like a lot of times they're based in like they work remotely and they're all based in different areas. So it's not like they all are in a room together like you might imagine, like the tech startup in the garage or whatever. They're just all over making these things. Game looks really cool, kind of even online. Like this is probably like graphically one of the most impressive games, but also they didn't have a playable demo yet. So they're about 2 weeks away from a closed beta, and they've told me now that I'm going to be invited in. And so I think about stuff like that, like should I accept things like that? And I think it's okay because that'll allow me to report on the game. So that's a pretty big deal. Good guys, yeah, really good guys. And then I got an interview with the Zone folks. So one of the Zone guys came on and talked about the game. That was a lot of fun. Yeah, and then there's some people I talked to outside of that too that I want to bring up. One just really quick. The CEO of Cometa, the founder of Cometa, came on to talk about a project that they're launching on there, and he came out and I kind of tapped him on the shoulder. I was in the middle of this pitch meeting, which kind of screwed up my interview session, to be honest. Because I just finally grabbed the Cosmic Champs guy, Hamish, and I said, hey, can we do that interview? And I was just about to put him on camera, and then the pitch meeting started in that room. So they kind of did these little pitches for funding. I didn't know all the details of it because it kind of happened while I was trying to do something else. Some interesting stuff. I took down some people while I was watching. It's funny, some of them are like really good and some are so bad. But yeah, so I grabbed the Cometa guy, and he knew who I was because I'd made videos on him, and so I've made that connection. It'll be easier to gain interviews later, which this is one of the cool parts about this. Like you go to one of these conferences and you make these connections, and those connections pay off down the road. Not just pay off from a transactional perspective, like getting interviews and stuff, but it's just cool to build, people that know you, in the space that you care about. So, but the other one is the gals behind Tiger Chi, very very cool ladies. So they got this Tiger Chi NFT project. They're really cool art, and I gotta shout out Seawill for pointing that out. to me because they came up and we talked a little bit. They knew I had a YouTube channel, and it was pretty neat. But I didn't really get to ask them something. They were talking to Sewell a lot, and then after they left, I said, "Hey, what are those gals?" And he goes, "Oh yeah, man, they're the Tiger Chief folks. You gotta check this out." I'm like, "Oh man, that's cool." So really cool. And then the other thing that they do is they have this this map, this ecosystem maps that they do for Algorand, and they update it every 3 months or so. And so they're going to add me, by the way, next time it comes around, which is nice. But I really enjoyed talking with them. They are, I believe, they were both Chinese, and now they live. Oh, where did they say? Do they live in the States or London? I wait, no, because one of them had a little bit of an accent, not a Chinese accent, but like a New Zealand or something. Anyway, it's not important. Yeah, they were one of the people. So I met them yesterday, and then today I was like, oh, I want to go talk with them. And if I had been able to in time, kind of had all my stuff packed up. But otherwise, I would have got them on camera because that would have been fun too. So those are everyone I talked to. Now there's some news at the end here, and I want to talk about that. Sorry, I know this is going on a while, but so we started talking about like this tokenized grain, this project to bring grain to farmers so they can use the blockchain instead of having to rely on expensive banks that are corrupt. And that was something that the folks from Trantorian were talking about too. Like we take that for granted, but in some of these countries, like Argentina is one of them, you can't trust the banks. They're corrupt. I mean, we talk about our banks being corrupt, but comparatively, like you can basically trust them on most things. But like with the Argentina banks, they could just take your money tomorrow, and then leaving the country, don't forget about that. So there's a lot of countries where blockchain and crypto is actually really beneficial. It's almost a necessity, and solving problems. This is something Silvio talked about yesterday. By the way, if you're reading my tweets, I apologize. I think I spelled Silvio's name wrong like a bunch. That's not good. I apologize for that. Yeah, banking the unbanked, 4G access, disaster relief. So that was one of the big ones. But I want to talk about this other one. And the foundation just tweeted this out. In fact, I'm gonna. Yeah, so Algo Helper and Algo Derivatives won the build pitch competition. I think that's what I was watching. And Deflexify and Comet Hub for winning the scale pitch competition. Okay, that was the one I watched. Excuse me, I think. Maybe it was both. I don't know. Yeah, so that's when they won. Kind of going through their news here. Oh, that's weird. They just got rid of that tweet. Yeah, here it is. So yeah, I don't know where it went on their page, but yeah, so big news at the Cypher event. STV, they announced the launch of Kokua. It's a new platform bringing efficiency and transparency to relief funding for natural disaster victims, built on top of the Algorand blockchain. Now, what the cool thing is, like, what happens sometimes, FEMA, the guy was talking about this, what happens with FEMA, sometimes they're sending like relief payments to dead people, like, because there's no good way to keep track on it. So this will be a digital wallet that they can use for survivors. Actually, I do think this is pretty big news. That is amazing. So final thoughts on Decipher. Well, just personally, I didn't know what to expect going in. I know I put a lot of pressure on myself, and I should. Someone paid for me to be here. I want to do my best. And I know I went through a lot of trouble to get here too. But if someone is gonna believe in me like that, I got to do the work, and I did. I feel like I did that. But I was nervous because I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know what it's going to be like. My overall impressions are the big takeaway is where we are now in Algorand compared to where we were a year ago. We've grown a lot. You got to remember, a year ago we barely had a DEX. We had no games, hardly any games on the horizon, hardly anything interesting was going on. There just weren't that many videos to make. I wasn't making any videos on Algorand. Well, yeah, it was. Yeah, it was. What am I talking about? But there wasn't a huge number of stuff that tickled my fancy enough that I wanted to do videos on it. And now look at how much stuff there was. I was just really blown away with how much is being done on the Algorand blockchain. Now, some thoughts about the foundation. I'm still kind of wrapping my brain around the fact that they just don't seem to care about the YouTubers who are making content in this space. I don't understand it. Dude, we're one of your best resources, and we're all growing. That's the thing. Like, Berwin's growing, I'm growing, the next block folks are growing, Crypto for Change, C-Will, JT, all these guys are growing, and I am too. And they just seem to kind of ignore us. They came on the next block for about, Stacy came on the next block for about 15 minutes. John said if I found him today, he'd go on, but I was just too busy with all the people who, it's hard for me to give time to someone who's like, yeah, if you find me. And I don't blame him. They're very busy. I understand it totally. But when I got people that like, it really means a lot for them to come on camera with me, like, why would I do that? Why would I not prioritize them? And it really did. It really meant a lot for these folks to, they're like begging for camera time. You should see the line that the next block folks had. And there's a line around the block to get hit block on the hat. I mean, they had a long line today. People who just want to get out and talk about their projects. There's a lot to cover, and we were talking about that after the show, or after the event. We're just saying like, yeah, there's space for all of us in here. I think all of us can help each other grow. It's not a zero-sum game. We're on this together, and it means a lot. It means a lot that they embrace me. That those guys let me come on the show. Adam's been here. He's been calling me every morning, so we talk about the day. And yeah, it's been cool, man. It's been cool getting to know those guys. That's one of the big things. It's just making friends with all the other YouTubers, and then other people in the space too. It's pretty cool, It really is. So I like that part. Now, some ideas I had for how they could do this better in the future. I think they should set aside an hour on one of the days and say, hey, YouTubers, here's your day. You can sign up for 10 minutes with Stacy Warden, 5 minutes with John Woods, or Sean Ford, or whoever you want. Whoever you want. You can sign up for time with with any of those guys. Or maybe even like, hey, Silvio is limited, but maybe we'll have a lottery who gets to interview Silvio if he wants to do it, or he gets to pick, or whatever. Something like that. But make some space for us YouTubers. I was a little annoyed because it wasn't a big deal, but it kind of set the tone when I came in and I saw media and speakers, and then another entrance for everyone else. The YouTubers went through an entrance with everyone else, which is fine, except like, dude, we're media. That tells me that you don't think of us as media, which doesn't make a lot of sense. And I've said before, I don't want money from the foundation. I wouldn't feel comfortable if they paid for my trip. Oh, I forgot to mention Coop Daniels too. He's been pretty cool to me as well. I didn't talk to him as much as everyone else, but cool guy. But yeah, people said I don't want money from them. However, like it'd be nice if like they gave us a little break on the ticket, or maybe had a ticket that had like it was maybe a little special somehow to identify us as YouTubers. I mean, we're making content for you guys. And so I ran at the very, very end, I ran into the gal who's doing like PR, the PR firm that Algorand Foundation worked with. And I think, well, I want to talk to her more because we want to talk about that situation and how we can improve that in the future. Very quickly was able to take her number. Of course, she had to scuttle off and announce that news. But I have high hopes for the next Decipher. I'd really like to go. I think this is a valuable thing for anyone who's making content on Algorand. If you can swing it, get there. It's difficult. This one is really difficult because it's so far away, but I'm glad I did. I'm glad I went. I think it's been great. Now you guys are going to see that content coming out, so don't think this is over, but this is the end of my Decipher coverage. But all those interviews are still going to be coming out. They're all short, about 5 minutes, 5-10 minutes at most. And there'll just be some editing, so you're going to see those throughout the month of December, really. Anyway, thanks so much for watching, guys. Again, I want to thank all you viewers for supporting my channel, because if it were for you guys, I would not be here. Like, yeah, NifGen paid the bill, or at least a lot of the bill, but I would be on NifGen's radar if I only had 2 subscribers, right? So the fact that so many of you have supported me, and some of you, I get messages from me all the time. I really appreciate that. So I just want to say thanks. I know it's maybe sounds a little cliche or whatever, but I really mean it, guys. It's all about you. So thanks so much for trusting me. Thanks so much for watching me. I'm going to keep trying to do right by you guys, and you know what? We'll see you in the future.